I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me first direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show. Once you're good and educated about the show, you can click on that merchandise tab, which I am very much in need of doing myself, as you can tell. More on that in a second. But once you go to that merchandise tab, you'll find our classic logo tee, our pride logo tee, all of the special event t-shirts, especially that brand new Home Base Freak Out 2 merchandise. Those shirts look so good. Got to see so many of them in attendance last night at Home Base Freak Out 2. Just look wonderful. All the other gimmicks you've come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck still in our online store. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, and of course bed sets you can outfit your entire home or your entire body throughout our online store. So we would appreciate if you would do so. We've sold out so that you can buy in. Stick taps, love and respect to each and every one of you picking up some merchandise over the last couple of weeks. Social media, and we have seen a significant uptick since Home Base Freak Out 2 in our social media activity, and thank you so much. We sure do appreciate it. You can follow along with the show on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on TikTok. You can also subscribe and watch Renegades Puck TV on YouTube. Our behind-the-scenes live stream channel on Twitch can be found easily just by searching Renegades of Puck. And, of course, the audio podcast. Now, we have crossed over 2.5 million unique downloads, replays, and individual listens for the year 2023. So already in the first part of the year, we have eclipsed what we have done last year, and we are far surpassing it, and we are looking to continue doing so. You can continue helping us out, and we thank you so much for doing so on some of the following platforms: Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Amazon, Google, and if you just search Renegades of Puck on your preferred and favorite platform, you'll probably find the Renegades of Puck. So we sure do appreciate each and every one of you. Venmo, and the easiest way you can become a sponsor of the show is by going to Venmo, searching Renegades of Puck, or scanning the QR code that's currently on your screen. We received some incredible donations thanks to generous Renegades at Home Base Freak Out 2, and you also out there watching and listening at home. We sure do appreciate it. It goes a long way to helping us. We were able to, thanks to your generous donations, we were able to accomplish everything we needed to accomplish for Home Base Freak Out within the budget that you helped us acquire. So thank you guys so much. We're an independent operation, and it is grassroots, and we are doing it together. So again, thank you. Stick taps, love, and respect. Sure to appreciate it. Every one of you that became a partner and helped us out. There were some great small dollar donations, and those are the best kind, because every single penny, every dollar goes to helping the Renegades Puck. So again, thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm tired. It's been a long weekend, but I'm fully equipped to bring the No Half Step in Hockey coverage to the bunkers. So let's get around to it. It's time for show 735, operation number 735 for the Renegades of Puck. Time to clock in, everybody. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division. 71 games skated on the season. That means only 11 games left on the season. First of 2 games over the course of the weekend. That's the game we're talking about now. We'll talk about the Maple Leafs in this preview. 36, 27, and 8 is the Nashville Predators' overall record on the season. 80 points is how many they have on home ice, which is where their next game will take place against the Leafs on Sunday afternoon, late Sunday afternoon. Road record of 18, 13, and 4. The Preds have scored 202 goals on the season. They've given up 213 goals against, and there's a goal differential of -11. Now, let me update you on the latest Central Division standings. Then we'll talk about the wild card, because while the wild card is becoming less realistic, it is still not out of reach completely. So, Central Division update first. The Minnesota Wild are in first place with 93 points. They have skated in 73 games. That is more than the 2 teams they're competing with for the top of the Central Division. Second place right now is the Dallas Stars. 72 games completed on the season, 92 points. Colorado Avalanche have 90 points in third place. Winnipeg is in fourth place. They've skated in the most amount of games in the entirety of the division. They have 85 points. The Preds are in fifth place with 80 points. Then St. Louis with 70, and then Arizona with a Little E, and Chicago with Little E. So 2 teams in the Central now officially eliminated. Their season is concluded, all but finishing out the games on the schedule. So the Nashville Predators in the Central find themselves in 5th, but the Central Division could find 4 teams going to the wild card. So for the Nashville Predators, moving up 1 slot would be incredibly beneficial, and that's exactly who they're competing with directly is the Winnipeg Jets. Going over the wild card standings for the Western Conference, Seattle currently holds wild card 1 with 88 points. Winnipeg holds wild card 2 with 85 points, and then Calgary has eclipsed the Nashville Predators and has 81 points, and then the Preds are at 80. So the Preds and the Calgary Flames have played the same number of games at this point. The Preds have skated in 3 fewer games than the Winnipeg Jets. That's why I keep saying that the wild card is not completely out of reach with this Nashville Predators team. Of course, you cannot assume 3 victories in the 3 games at hand. It just would not make any sense, and it would be disingenuous to try to sell you that, because I don't believe the Nashville Predators are going to win those 3 games that they have in hand, and that's not a big deal. The Nashville Predators are 2 teams out of the wild card right now, have to jump over Calgary, and then would have to displace Winnipeg. Still capable of doing so. It is very long odds, so at this point. Now, for the Nashville Predators, once this back-to-back over the weekend is wrapped up, somewhat of a more traditional week for the first time seeming in a while. Tuesday, the Preds are in Boston, take on the buzzsaw known as the Bruins. Their season is already solidified. They've won their division. They have their playoff spot taken care of, so we'll find out if that's a different Boston Bruins team than we saw on the night that we had a catfish too far incident at Bridgestone Arena. Thursday, the Preds are in Pittsburgh. Saturday, back home against St. Louis. And then on April the 3rd, starting off the final month of the regular season, the Nashville Predators will be in Dallas. They'll follow that up the next night at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Preds and the Leafs, they've met 1 time this season, so this will be the second of 2 regular season meetings, closing out the regular season series. It was back on January the 11th. The Preds fell 2-1 in Toronto. It was Tavares with a goal and an assist, Marner with the other goal. Murray picked up the victory net, 32 out of 33 for the Preds side of the ledger. Forsberg scored the only goal for the Preds. UC Saros took the loss, 33 out of 35. Now, before we talk about the Leafs and the direct matchup, let's update you on the injuries. The captain, Roman Josi, still listed as day-to-day, potentially could come back at any moment, or at least that's what we have been said and told a number of times. Carey, Parson, and Forsberg all still out of the lineup and definitely missing that offense of Philip Forsberg, especially as of late. Now, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've just wrapped up their game a matter of minutes ago. They now have a record of 43-20-9, 95 points, as them second overall in the Atlantic. On the road, a record of 18-13-4, highly respectable record, a plus 47 goal differential. That's a hell of a number right there. And we'll go back and take a look at their most recent 5, and we'll call that the sample size. 3-17 was a 5-2 victory versus the Carolina Hurricanes. On the 18th, the next night, a 5-4 shootout win at the Ottawa Senators. On the 21st of March, a 7-2 loss at the New York Islanders. And on the 23rd, a 6-2 win at Florida. And just a few minutes ago, wrapping up a 5-3 loss at the Carolina Hurricanes. Murray getting the start, 23 out of 27 in that game. So the Leafs have to jump on the plane and make the quick hop over the mountains here to Nashville. They'll be arriving late. They will not have much of a turnaround time. Probably not going to get to see the sights or do a lot of hanging out on Broadway, because it's a 5 o'clock game at Bridgestone Arena, and the back-to-back for both teams definitely affects who we will see in net. So for the Nashville Predators and the Maple Leafs, let's go over the league rankings and the matchup for these 2 squads. Now, the Maple Leafs are going to have significantly more impressive statistical metrics. By the way, just one more comment on the Leafs and their record. They are basically locked into the 2-3 matchup when it comes to the Atlantic Division going into the playoffs. Boston is so far ahead of the pack that nobody's going to catch up to them, and there's nobody going to catch up to the number 3 spot. So it looks, for all intents and purposes, unless something absolutely crazy happens, it's going to be Tampa Bay and Toronto in the first round. Just a matter of who's going to have the home ice advantage in that series. Just to set you up how the Leafs mentality may be down the final stretch of 10 games of the season, there's not a whole lot left for them to play for. Kind of already locked in, so they could be working on some things. They could start resting some players. But let's talk about the rankings. Let's talk about the matchups. Let's talk about the statistics for these 2 teams. When it comes to goals for on the season, Nashville Predators 2.77. That's 26th in the NHL, while the Maple Leafs have a significantly better number. 3.43 per game is 7th best in the NHL. When it comes to goals against, Nashville Predators 2.97, 12th, respectable, but the Maple Leafs are 9th best in the league at 2.76. When it comes to the shots shots for category. The Preds have just struggled generating shots on goal in large numbers and quantities the entire season, still under 30, 29.9, 23rd overall in the NHL. The Leafs at 31.8, that's 15th, right in the middle of the pack there. Shots against the Preds giving up 33.3 per game. High shot volumes against their goaltenders, that's 27th, near the bottom of the league, while the Maple Leafs are only giving up 29.3 shots per game. That's 6th best in the entire NHL. When it comes to special teams, well, the Toronto Maple Leafs power play is far, far more impressive than the Nashville Predators power play. 25.4% is 3rd best overall in the NHL. That's their conversion rate in their league ranking. For the Nashville Predators, 17.7% is their conversion rate. That's 26th in the league. 38 out of 215. 38 goals on 215 opportunities is the breakdown for the Nashville Predators. On the penalty kill, the Preds do lead in this particular statistical metric, the only one on the board. 81.8% is their penalty kill rate. That's 11th best in the league, and they have been red hot as of late. 43 power play goals against on the season, not necessarily reflective of how good they've been since the All-Star break. The Toronto Maple Leafs power penalty kill is 80.5% kill rate on the season, 13th, 42 power play goals against. When it comes to individual statistics, we always talk about the top 5 for each team and the expected goaltender matchup. In this particular situation, both teams playing back-to-back. Pretty sure we know what the goaltender matchup is going to be, so we're going to update the numbers on the goaltenders that play on Saturday and give you the preview of the goaltenders we expect to play on Sunday. Let's talk about the visiting Toronto Maple Leafs coming into Bridgestone Arena. Marner, 28 goals, 65 assists, 93 points. 100 points is probably very easily a reality for him by the end of this season. Another impressive season. Nylander, 36 goals and 45 assists for 81 points. Matthews, 36 goals and 39 assists for 75 points. Tavares, 30 goals and 42 assists for 72 points. Bunting, 21 and 25 for 46. Now, Matt Murray played in Carolina just a bit ago. 23 out of 27 in that game, taking the loss. His updated numbers for the season, 14, 8 and 2, and 905 save percentage, 2.97 goals against average. Samsonov expected to get the start in Nashville, 24, 9 and 3 on the season, a 914 save percentage, a 2.46 goals against average. Flipping over to the home side of the statistical ledger, the captain, Roman Josi, still out of the lineup listed as day-to-day, but also still leading the Nashville Predators in scoring on the season. 18 goals, 41 assists, 59 points. Matt Duchene now at 22 goals and 34 assists for 56 points. Philip Forsberg on injured reserve, 19 goals, 23 assists for 42 points, 3rd overall on the team in scoring. Tommy Novak, 14 goals and 19 assists for 33 points. Citizens 11 and 16 for 27. After today's game, UC Saros' updated stats are 28, 20, and 7 is his record. 915 save percentage, a 2.80 goals against average. Kevin Lankinen anticipated to get the start against Toronto Maple Leafs, a record of 8, 6, and 1, 917 save percentage, a 2.70 goals against average. Now, caveat I'm going to put in there, Lankinen should get the start and is expected to get the start, but John Hines at times has shown a willingness to play his starting goaltender UC Saros in back-to-back situations. I do not feel that this is a situation that he should do that. UC Saros has already had an incredibly heavy workload this season, and he's coming off a game where, frankly, you're about to find out how the game went. It didn't go very well, so UC Saros deserves the chance to sit and take a break in this opportunity. That gets you all set up for the Nashville Predators and Toronto Maple Leafs Sunday, late afternoon at Bridgestone Arena. Wild card race still very much at hand for the Nashville Predators. The youth getting the minutes. That's the most important thing as far as my coverage, my concern is the final 10 games of the season going forward. It's getting those impactful players of the future the most important minutes in challenging situations against other teams that are fighting for their playoff lives as well. It's been great to watch. It's been great to track. It hasn't been flawless hockey. There have certainly been imperfections, and there have certainly been things that lessons can be learned from, and some of that we're going to talk about here coming up in the analysis portion. But first, let's tell you everything that happened in the game against Seattle Kraken, game 2 of the week series against Seattle Kraken. It's called the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap, and it's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We go all the way back to March the 25th of the year 2023 when the Nashville Predators were taking on the Seattle Kraken for the second time in a row at Bridgestone Arena, and also a streak that's developing the third game in a row for John Hynes. And it was highly confusing as I started writing down. I thought to myself, something seems really familiar about this. The third consecutive game where John Hynes deploys the same exact lineup. Now, that was not the case for much of this season. Now, let me tell you what those lines are. Tomasino, Glass, and Duchesne on the first line. Sherwood, Novak, and Evangelista on the second line. Trennan, Sissons, and Smith. Afanasyev, Jankowski, and Asplund make up your fourth line. Your defensive pairings. McDonough and Favreau, Barry and Gross. Luzon and Foote. UC Saros gets the start in net for the Nashville Predators. We are 3:14 into the first period, and no, this is not exactly the same recap as the other day, but Sprong again scores the first goal of the game for Seattle. Now his 19th goal this season, giving the Kraken a 1-0 lead at Bridgestone Arena. It was another close-range goal. This time it was a rebound follow-up of Donato's shot. It was the first shot on goal, the rebound follow-up, the second shot on goal, and it goes into the net. Challenged by the Nashville Predators for goalie interference, and it was upheld. It's a good goal. That means Nashville Predators hit with a delay of game penalty, 2 minutes. The Preds have to go on the PK after giving up the first goal of the game, but the Preds PK unit, which has been outstanding as of late, continues the outstanding work. Do not give up a single shot on goal here over the course of 2 minutes. We're going to 5:33 of the first period. Saros comes up with a save on Tanev's stuff attempt at close range. 5:46. Eberle's off to the box, 2 minutes for tripping, giving the Preds their first power play of the game. Grubauer comes with a save on Novak. That would be the Nashville Predators' first shot on goal of the entire game. 8:42 of the first period. Saros a save on Larson. 10:23. Saros a save on Schultz. At this point in the game, the shots on goal are Seattle 10 and Nashville 1. At 10:48 of the first period, Geeky's off to the box, 2 minutes for holding. The Preds would not generate a single shot on goal. They would only generate one shot attempt towards the net, and the Kraken are just outworking the Preds for every single puck out there on the ice. 14:10 of the first period. Sissons is picking up a total of 4 minutes, 2 for goalie interference, 2 for roughing. Dunn also picking up 2 for roughing. That'll put Seattle on the power play. Saros is going to have to come up with a big save right here, and it's going to lead to a scrum after the whistle. Overall, a solid PK by the Nashville Predators. 16:30 of the first period. Duchesne is off to the box, 2 minutes for slashing, and it's Ellie Tolvanen's 16th goal of the season to give Seattle a 2-0 lead at Bridgestone Arena. It was a wrist shot from the face-off circle. It's like we've seen this before. A good, hard, accurate wrist shot from the face-off circle. Tolvanen, the power play specialist, converts his 16th goal of the season. At the end of the first period, Seattle 13 shots on goal. The Nashville Predators only 1 shot on goal for the entire period. 1 shot on goal. 1:43 into the second period. Barry is equaling the Nashville Predators shot total for the game. It's the second shot on goal for the Preds, and the Nashville Predators are on the board. It's Barry's 12th goal of the season. He fought through the stick check to put a rebound back in, and it makes the game now Seattle 2, Nashville 1. So the Preds are on the board, and they are going to continue to get some momentum right here because at 1:57 of the second period, Gord is off the box, 2 minutes for holding. But that momentum is immediately sapped with 0 shots on goal by the Nashville Predators power play unit, leaving the broadcasting team really clearly confounded trying to call the action out there. 5:11 in the second period. Saros comes up with a save on Sprong at the weak side setup. 7:07. Saros a save on Wenberg. 8:31. Grubauer comes with a stop on Tomasino on the breakaway. Tomasino continues to have difficulties cashing in on breakaways. 9:56 of the second period. Saros comes with a save on Geeky off the rush. 10:21. Foot's off the box. 2 minutes for slashing. Saros comes up with a save on Dunn. Preds PK is very solid. Again, 14:57 in the second. Saros comes with a save on Gord. 16:03. Saros a save on McCann. 17:46. Tolvanen, second goal of the game. 17th of the season, gives Seattle a 3-1 lead. UC Saros came out to play the puck that was trickling in. It would have led to a breakaway, but Saros wins the battle and wins the race to the puck, but misplays it, tries to dump it off the wall, sends it right over to Ellie Tolvanen. Ellie Tolvanen sends it right into the back of the empty net. UC Saros paid for his hesitation coming out of the net. Seattle now leads 3-1 here in the second period. 17:37 to the second. Grubauer comes with the save on Jankowski. We hit the end of the second, and listen to these shots on goal numbers. Seattle now has 29 shots on goal through 2 periods. The Nashville Predators have 12. Look, it's impressive to go from 1 to 12. That means 11 shots on goal in the second period, but for the Nashville Preds, it's just not enough. We come out of the clean sheet in the third period, and much like we started the second period, the Nashville Preds are jumping on the score sheet immediately. 53 seconds into the third period, it's Matt Duchene's 22nd goal of the season. It was a absolute perfect deflection of Barry's shot from the sharp angle. All of this happening just above the goal line. Really impressive effort by everybody offensively here. This makes the game now Seattle 3 and Nashville has 2. But the momentum, just like it disappeared quickly in the second period, disappears just as quickly in the third period, this time in a much more dramatic fashion. At 3:37, Larson, his 7th goal of the season, gives the Seattle a 4-2 lead over the Preds. McCann's feed after the delay and hold from down low makes the entire play. All Larson had to do was make an accurate shot, and it was going to go into the net. And the Nashville Preds find themselves down 4-2, but then at 8:13, they find themselves down 5-2 as a 3-on-2 give and go finds its way back to the net. When Beniers puts his 20th of the season in. 10:47, McCann's 35th goal of the season makes it 6-2. 12:35, Bjorkstrand's 17th goal of the season makes it 7-2. That was a rebound put back, and there was just simply nobody even putting up much of an effort to stop at this point. That's going to be your final, 7-2. There was no point in taking notes any further. The Nashville Preds simply just skated around until time ran out. Seattle continued pressing, actually, up until the very end of the game. 39 shots on goal for Seattle, 16 for the Nashville Preds for the entire game. The Preds, frankly, found themselves quite flat offensively for the entirety of this game, and they paid the price for that. They found themselves blown out on home ice. The Seattle Kraken are fighting for their first ever playoff berth in franchise history, and the Nashville Preds are supposed to be fighting for their playoff lives. One team, it was obvious they were fighting, and the other team, frankly, it didn't look like they were very much at all. They'll have a chance to regroup. They'll have a chance to pick it up against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are a far better team than the Seattle Kraken. Preds are going to have to step their efforts up considerably. That was the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We've already started to bleed over into the analysis portion of things, so let's go ahead and take this quick break, come back with the Renegades of Puck podcast, and get to the analysis portion, box score stats, opinions, and we'll close this show out talking about home base freakout 2. Right back, Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness, and that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
UC Saros was 32 out of 39 in this game, and he was awful. He mishandled the puck, and that led to the empty net goal by Ellie Tobin. There was no recovery after that. It was a hesitation on the decision to come out. Askarov may be a little bit wild, but one thing he doesn't do is hesitate coming out of the net to make plays like that. In this particular situation, UC Saros won the battle to the puck, but then he tried to clear it along the wall right to his former teammate Tolvanen. Tolvanen's not going to miss an empty net regardless of the distance. So for UC Saros, kind of doomed his own momentum in this game. He was keeping the Nashville Preds in there certainly through the first period, even though the Preds found themselves down. They were still within reason in this game, but UC Saros just did not have it in this game, and the team in front of them didn't have it very much at all. And we're going to talk about that as we move along through the analysis portion of things. Matt Duchene, offensively, one of only a couple of noticeable players for the Nashville Predators out there. A goal and assist. He had 2 points in this game. And again, it seemed like Matt Duchene had a gear above most of the Nashville Predators that were on the ice. The deflection that he made at close range off a Barry sharp angle shot, that is otherworldly hand-eye coordination right there. And just a perfect deflection. Matt Duchene leads the Nashville Predators in goals now in the season with 22. He's second on the team in scoring with 56 points, 2 more points today. He's getting closer and closer to catching Roman Josi for the season lead if Roman Josi doesn't come back in the lineup here soon. Also want to talk about Philip Tomasino. He had 2 assists in this game. He had a strong game, and the only thing preventing me from really talking about the strength of the game is another failed and missed opportunity on the breakaway. It's something we've talked about since his arrival at the NHL level last year. If he could have converted on just half of the breakaways he's had in the NHL, he would easily have 8 more goals at least on his career. He would have had 4 or 5 last year, and he's missed a couple of really glorious and golden opportunities right here. But I want to talk about the positive part of Tomasino's game. The 2 assists were excellent. He's out there playing extremely hard. He also, in this game, had 2 shots on goal. That was tied for the team lead. He did it all in 15-48 in total time on ice. He also delivered 3 hits. Tomasino, not necessarily the most physical player, but he was delivering the goods out there today. So I wanted to point out Philip Tomasino and recognize his efforts in this game. You have to talk about Tyson Barrie. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, and he's been such a strong addition. Now, I had suspected when he was first traded for in the Matthias Ekholm deal that he would be flipped immediately for more draft picks. He was not a rental. He's got a year left on his contract, and I have got to say, I'm highly impressed with what he's been able to accomplish in his short amount of time with this Nashville Predators team. He's a really, really good, slick, offensive defenseman. He gets low in the zone. He moves the puck. He's in there on the jam. He's also just fine on the defensive side of things. I think that Barrie has been a really, really nice addition to this Nashville Predators team. He had a goal. He had assists. He blocked a shot in this game. He also skated 18-22 in time on ice and delivered a hit. Again, Barrie, solid addition for next year's decor on the second pair. And this is something that I hate to have to even say, but listen, there was half-stepping detected out there, and you could see it in the third period. The Nashville Predators were deflated and were just waiting for this game to expire while Seattle continued pressing throughout the entirety of the full 60 minutes. Seattle is getting themselves lined up for their first ever playoff clinching scenario coming up here in the next couple of games potentially, and the Nashville Predators were flat from go. Only 1 shot on goal in the entire first period, and then only 4 shots on goal in the third period, and then Seattle just absolutely blowing the Preds off the rank in the third period. It sounded like their fans had a great time, and it also sounded like there were a ton of them here in town for the 2-game series this week. So for the Nashville Predators, it was absolutely half-stepping detected out there in the third period. They weren't even fighting for rebounds. They weren't even trying to clear pucks necessarily. The game just kind of fell apart. A young team needs to learn tough lessons. Learning how to finish a game out even when the score is insurmountable is an important lesson. I hope that was addressed. I hope that John Hynes spent some time in what I suspect is his remaining time with this Nashville Predators team discussing that with his players, because apparently he does not talk about players that aren't on the Nashville Predators. The post-game press conference, of course, with Eeli Tolvanen scoring 2 goals in this game and being a player that John Hynes helped usher into the NHL and helped coach him up initially, was asked about Tolvanen after the game and simply blew off the question, said he's not going to talk about Tolvanen or players that aren't on the Nashville Predators. Frankly, that's a bad look. It's very easy to look straight into the media, straight at the camera, and say Eeli Tolvanen is obviously a world-class hockey player. That's why he's made it to the NHL level. I saw when he was here that he was capable of scoring. I saw what he was capable of doing, and he did that today against us. Eeli Tolvanen's a good hockey player. I wish him nothing but the best in the future. John Hynes is not the coach that let Eeli Tolvanen slip through the franchise's fingers. John Hynes could have chosen to give a straight, honest answer in that press conference, but he chose to be odd for a coach that typically offers a 5-paragraph essay on literally every question asked him. It was kind of weird and noted by several very, very reliable media members that he was so short about that topic. We're all pissed about Eeli Tolvanen slipping through the franchise's fingers. He will be listed as the one that got away, and for quite some time. And today was a very difficult day for anybody making the argument that Eeli Tolvanen was not a good player for this Preds team and that the Preds didn't need him. Of course the Predators needed Eeli Tolvanen. Think how impressive it would be to have him as well as the rest of this youth moving forward. He'll be the player that got away, and today he really crammed it up the Preds in this particular situation with 2 goals in this game. Sean C. Smith was at home base freak out, and he was legendary on the stage, telling stories, talking to all the different Renegades there at home base freak out too. Brought his family out. It was wonderful to have Sean out there. Sean's out of the trenches for this episode, but you know who is in the trenches? It's Brian Bass. And Brian Bass was also at home base freak out, and he partied with me long into the night with the rest of the Renegades, was also on stage. Brian killed it. Thank you, Brian, for all the words and all the nice things you said. Brian took the mic from me to say nice things about me. I don't deserve any of those nice words. What I deserve is the blame when things go wrong, and every one of you out there deserve the credit when everything goes right. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate Brian. Let's get to Brian's segment right here. Brian was at Bridgestone Arena. He was on the front lines covering the game. He was in the trenches from ontheforecheck.com and coming off a great night at Home Base Freakout 2 and covering the Pekka Rinne statue reveal and unveiling this morning. Here he is. He's Brian Basson.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just comment on guys that are on our team.
As you may have seen in the clip just now, this team probably doesn't want to talk about the night that Eeli Tolvanen had in his second game and his return to Smashville since being waived earlier this year. And despite, being pretty much blanked in the first game, Eeli Tolvanen had his revenge game in a pretty big way with 2 goals on the night and just a stunning performance overall. So again, if the coaches or the staff don't want to talk about him, well, I sure as hell am. So let's talk about Eeli Tolvanen in tonight's one big stat. Now, ever since he was waived, it's been a bit of a sore spot. Whether you're a person who believes that John Hines should be fired into the sun, or you're somebody who defends the guy, I think both sides can probably agree that absolutely nobody was happy with the way the Eeli Tolvanen situation was handled, even before he was waived and claimed by the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, we saw him appear in just 13 games this year with 2 goals and 4 points in just those 13 games. But Eeli Tolvanen has long been a story of somebody not realizing what his potential has been. We all heard after he was drafted that he was a one-trick pony, that he was, junior Ovechkin, and all he was a hard shot. And over the next couple of years, Eeli Tolvanen worked extremely hard to correct that misperception. And by the time this season had started, Eeli Tolvanen had become a regular starter in the lineup, somebody who had excelled on defense and offense. And the only thing really that was going against him was, ironically, his ability to score goals. But when you look at the team here in Nashville and you look at a lot of players who have been stuck on scoreless streaks, I can't say that problem was something that was unique to Tolvanen. And then he was taken and claimed by the Seattle Kraken. Now, before I tell you about his season so far with the Kraken, I want to talk about Eeli Tolvanen and the seasons he's had in Nashville. And we're going to start with the 2020 season, where he first got his major action in the NHL. In 2021, Tolvanen had 40 games, and in those 40 games, he scored 11 goals and 22 points. The next season, 2021-22, he had 75 games played, which was impressive. Again, only 11 goals and 23 points, which at the time was a career high. And I've already talked about this season, his 13 games with Nashville, 2 goals, just 4 points overall. But what he's done since he landed in Seattle is pretty incredible. Eeli Tolvanen is having a career season with career highs in goals and points. But here's a fun fact. You take away those points and goals he scored for Nashville, and he's still having a career season. In 38 games so far with the Seattle Kraken, Eeli Tolvanen now has 15 goals and 25 points, both career highs, and he is showcasing what made him such a dangerous scorer before he was drafted. Now, I know that it's rough to watch this. Many people, myself included, were huge Eeli Tolvanen fans, and I saw him over the years work really hard on all aspects of his game, and I felt that he had earned his way into a place to stay with this lineup. In fact, can you imagine with this current roster and the way that it looks, I think this would have been an excellent time for Eeli Tolvanen to step up, take a more, veteran leadership role with the team, or what's left of it right now. And he could have been a really good centerpiece to start this rebuild. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it now. And I'm sure that this is going to be a decision that won't haunt Nashville Predators fans for many years to come. But if it does, let's all say this. We can all be mad at the Predators. We can be mad at coaches or the GM or whoever you want to be angry at. But, I'm actually pretty happy today. Yes, the game was awful, but Eeli Tolvanen deserved every bit of what he felt tonight after scoring those 2 goals. To walk back into this building just a few months after he was released from the team and to come in, score 2 goals, and put the game out of reach for the Nashville Predators. So good on you, Tolvanen. I'm glad that you got what you needed. I'm glad you got a little bit of closure, I guess, on your Nashville saga, your story with the Nashville Predators. And hopefully, maybe, Ellie, just take it a little easy next time on us Predators fans. And that's tonight's One Big Stat. Charlie?
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business. And that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know, because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. When it comes to the box score, you know what? There's not a whole lot to talk about, so let's run through it. Matt Duchene scored the only goal out of the forward grouping for the Nashville Predators. Barry scored the only goal for the defenseman, and that was 2 goals in total for the Nashville Predators. When it comes to assists, Philip Tomasino had 2 that led the Nashville Predators. Matt Duchene also chipped in with an assist, and Barry also chipped in with an assist. When it comes to shots on goal, nobody achieved higher than 2, and we had 5, so a bunch of players with 2, whatever. Duchesne, Jankowski, Tomasino, Luzon, and McDonough, all with 2 shots on net. When it comes to block shots, only 1 made it to the number of 3. That was Dante Fabro. Again, Dante Fabro has been doing a lot more little things well as of late. Maybe his best stretch of hockey has come over the last month since he has been a Nashville Predator. When it comes to the physical side of things in this game, Luzon, 7 hits, a couple of them absolutely bone-crushing. Sherwood delivered 5 as well, and then you saw Jankowski with 3 in this game. And the time on ice, 17:57 was your time on ice leader for all of the forwards. That was Matt Duchene. He also led the team in goals with 1. He also had an assist. 2 total points, 2 shots on goal, 17:57, and total time on ice. Ryan McDonough led the entire team in time on ice, 23:54, and Ryan McDonough in the lineup is just so smooth for this Nashville Predators team. And again, I was just talking about Barry and moving forward. Barry, McDonough, Yossi, Carrier, Luzon, those 5 moving forward, I think, are absolutely penned in already for next year. And you know what? That's not a bad start to the D core. Could maybe add 1 more piece that we're not aware of yet, but also have plenty of possibilities for prospects. So out of the other defensemen, Fabro was the second in total time on ice, 22 minutes and 11 seconds in this game. UC Saros just absolutely an abysmal box score, 32 saves on 39 shots against, 7 goals against, a save percentage in this game of .821. That's not very good. That's going to do it for the box score. Just frankly, not a lot to look at in here. It's kind of a mess. Nashville Predators drop a big one to the Seattle Kraken on home ice. That takes care of the box score. We'll be back on the Renegades of Puck podcast to close things out. Home Base Freak Out 2. We're taking you back to last night at Tailgate Brewery. That's what we're talking about next, right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, captain of the Renegades of Puck. I'm also tired of the cold, tired of the dark, and tired of being landlocked. I'm also willing to bet that I'm not the only one who could use some sun, fun, and time in paradise with friends. That's exactly why I called our great friend Pete Weber. He told me, call Ships and Trips Travel, and now we're all going to Mexico. That's right, Renegades of Puck, July 15th to the 20th of 2023. Dreams Vallarta Resort in Puerto Vallarta is the destination to hang with Pete Weber in paradise. To join Pete and the Renegades of Puck in Puerto Vallarta, go to www.shipsandtripstravel.com. That's shipsandtripstravel.com, and just click on the ROP on vacation tab. Don't stay landlocked. Join the Renegades of Puck in paradise, July 15th to the 20th, 2023 in Puerto Vallarta. Pete Weber, the Renegades of Puck, and you. It's time to ditch those skates for flip-flops and fun in the sun. All right, let's take you back to last night. Let's go back to Tailgate Brewery, Music Row, 1538 DeMunbury, and let's go back to how the day unfolded. I'm wearing a Savannah Ghost Pirates shirt here in the bunker this evening because I am going to tell you, Renegades, I had so much fun giving stuff away that I gave away virtually every piece of Renegades of Puck merchandise that existed in and around the bunker. I gave away jerseys, t-shirts, pucks, stickers, pins, posters. We gave away everything at Home Base Freakout 2 at Tailgate Brewery, and it was absolutely incredible. The first place starts with Tailgate Brewery. Just an incredible job. There are always difficulties in the planning and the execution of shows. Tailgate Brewery has shown the flexibility and the willingness to allow us to solve problems as they arise, and that's great. That shows great trust, great partnership, and I'm so happy to be working with Tailgate Brewery. It was great to work with Trey, getting the beer on tap this year. The Renegades of Puck Cream Ale, wonderful to see the artist in-house making the sign. So many incredible things happening before the event even started. And then when we got to the event, all the Renegades of Puck were in there. To be on stage with the entire group, to have Jeff Middleton and Chauncey Smith and Brian Baston on stage, to have us doing our thing, to have us talking to the live audience, to have the live audience reacting to us the way that they were. It was just absolutely incredible. It was so much fun. And then to have all the different Renegades come in and come through. So many of my friends in production circles from around the city stopped by, and it was so great to see every one of them because they know how much work goes into an event like this. So for them to come out and support it, you know that I really, really put in the effort and put in the hard work and earned their trust and willingness to come out to an event when, frankly, I know how busy they are. To have all of the different Preds analysts, media members, broadcasters, to have everybody from the hockey community, players, Zamboni drivers, Renegades of Puck Hockey Club members. It was just incredible. And we had a great time, and it was great fun. And I'm so excited to tell you that Tailgate Brewery was so excited. The manager stopped me before we even finished closing the event. And he said, after I get some rest, which is going to need a little bit of rest, he said, let's talk about Home Base Freakout 3. Seriously, let's already start planning it. Let's not wait until next year to figure it out. Let's start doing it now. So Tailgate Brewery is very much interested in continuing a partnership with the Renegades Puck. The Renegades Puck are very much interested in continuing that partnership with Tailgate Brewery. It's a match made in hockey, and I'm so incredibly happy. In the captain's speech, I talked, and I hope to have some video of this coming up on the next episode. I talked about breaking down the barriers that exist between us and finding the commonalities, finding what exists, what is the easiest things in common. We all breathe, we all drink, we all eat, we all live, we all die. That's 5 simple things that we all have in common. And once you can find 5 things in common, you can find so many more similar things about each other. When we finally get all of the things that we have in common out of the way, then you'll find yourself to the end of the list, and then you'll start to think, what are our differences? And your differences will be so minute and so minuscule, no matter what they are, that you'll realize that we have a million things in common. And for so many of us, especially you watching and listening, it's about hockey. It's about watching hockey, loving hockey. You can love whatever team you want, but it's all about the game itself. It's not about what colors you're. We all have it in common. We love the sport of hockey, whether you play it, whether you watch it, whether you grew up with it, whether you just found it a week ago. We all come to the same conclusion. We love the sport of hockey. We have that in common. Let's stop putting up these fake walls and barriers between our ability to become a bigger and better hockey community. Let's strive for excellence. Let's become great. Let's execute the no half-step in lifestyle each and every day in each and every way. That's what I talked about last night on stage with the Renegades of Puck live and in attendance, and I know that the words sunk in, and I know that each and every one of them were paying close attention. That's what the captain does. The captain sets the tone, and I will lead by example. So thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you that came out for Home Base Freakout 2, having another handshake summit with Willie Donick, having all of the Renegades, all the different media members, having Dan Bradley back in town and coming in for the event. So a multi-state event is what it turned out to be yet again this year, and we're so proud. Hundreds of Renegades. I don't know what the final head count was. It was tough to keep track. We had 4 different rooms going and active at the event and at all different times, including the overflow outside on the deck. Just simply an incredible night. I'll have more to say about this event, and I'll have more to say about all of these different topics coming soon. But for now, just simply cheers, a toast to each and every one of you Renegades of Puck who made the journey, came out to Home Base Freakout 2. Some of you had never been to one of our events. Some of you had never been to anything like that before. And I think you left with a warm and fuzzy at the end of the night. And I think that we can count on having you back in the trenches with us again soon. Thank you, guys. We sure do appreciate it. It was so great meeting you. Me getting an opportunity to glad hand, to shake hands and look in the eye and talk to the Renegades directly. There is no captain and no leader that does it better than I do. So every opportunity I have to spend that time with you, I'm going to take that advantage and take that opportunity. Renegades, I love every one of you. Thank you so much. It was an incredible year. It's going to be an incredible year cycle next year. We found our Super Bowl. We found our WrestleMania. It's called Home Base Freakout. We're going to be up to number 3 next year. And when we keep doing this for years and years and years, that'll give us the opportunity to build it from a couple hundred to a couple thousand, and who knows how far beyond. The podcast's already getting a couple of million listens a year. Maybe one day that's how many we'll have at Home Base Freakout. I will not limit the possibilities of this show. There is no such thing as a ceiling for what we can accomplish. Back when we first started this thing, there wasn't a single person listening to it. Now, over millions are consuming this incredible, positive hockey product. We love each and every one of you. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.